Okay, mm, let's start. Uh, Before start today's session, let me give you an overview what we have discussed yesterday. Yesterday we have seen two rule sets and how we can apply those two rule sets on your input data. And there are few filter columns which we can use to differentiate or to separate standardized data and not standardized data. And we have discussed about the few important columns which we can use to to form your standardized version of your input data. If you consider name, there are 3 to 4 columns which we can consider for the standardized version of your name field. And if you consider the address, again there are few columns which we can consider for the standardized version. So the thing is, in the transformer, as we discussed yesterday, you just need to can calculate it, and you need to form one single format, and that you can put it into your report and you can share that. So in today's session, we will discuss about the pattern action language. So this is not specific to any one of the rules. So this is common across the whole quality stage. So this is the pattern action language. So if you remember, like when we were discussing about the rule sets, I told you each rule set is the combination of the 5 components. Um, Classification file, dictionary file, and pattern action file, which I am saying, and then reference tables and override tables. So in the pattern action language, yeah, in the pattern action file which we are saying. So if you want to write your own code, or if you want to build your own language, your own file, the custom built file, like in the quality stage rule sets, so you should know about few basics about the pattern action language. Basically the pattern action file, whatever the code which you are seeing in the rule set, that is all like the pattern action language. So before going to discuss about in depth about the rule sets about each file, like in a classification file, dictionary file, and pattern action file. So I'm just giving you an overview of the pattern action language, what are all statements we have, and what are all simple commands we have, the generic commands which we mostly use in the pattern action language. So I will just give you an overview about the pattern action language, so that when we start discussing about the rule set, then you can easily understand when we are discussing about the pattern action language, pattern action rule, you can easily understand what are all commands we have, statements we have, so that it will be easy for you to understand about the pattern action file. So that is the reason why in today's session I'm just giving you an overview of the pattern action language. Okay, once we are done with this pattern action language, tomorrow we will take any one of the rule set, and we will try to go through what is the class, what we have in the classification file. And there are few syntax to specify the classification file and pattern action file and the dictionary file. So we will see all those things. Okay. So in today's session, I'm just giving you an overview of the pattern action language. So the first thing is the pattern format. So I think in yesterday's session also we have opened the pattern action file. I think yesterday or day before yesterday we have opened the pattern action file, and we search for one of the pattern. So pattern is nothing but it is a combination of the operands. So you are seeing here, right, on the screen you can see. So cap is one operand, D is one operand, and question mark is one operand, and T is one operand. So this is a standard syntax if you want to specify any kind of pattern in the pattern action file. So this is the standard syntax. You need to separate your operands with the pipe symbol. So what they are saying is, you're separating with the pipe delimited, right? If you want, you can put a space, or if you want, you can directly club it and you can write it here like how they have written it here. So that doesn't matter. That won't make any difference. But the thing is, you need to separate your operands with the pipe delimited. So this is the standard syntax. Like if you want to write, or if you want to define any kind of pattern in your pattern action file, so you have to follow the same format. And then here we are seeing, right, in braces 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are nothing but first operand, second operand, third operand, and fourth operand. So for example, if you copy, if you add copy is one of the statement we have in the pattern action file. So if you just add copy and in braces if you specify one, and if you define any one of the variable after this one, like temp or whatever it may be, it will, whenever you add copy and you are copying the first operand to the temporary variable, so what it will do is whatever the value which you are getting, like see, this is a pattern, so you will get some value like from the input data, or after the standardized version you will pass this, sorry, while doing the standardization you will get some input data, and so basically the input data should match to any one of the pattern. If not, it will go for the default pattern. For example, if you're getting any value which is matching to this pattern, so in that value, whatever the value which is matching to this operand one, it will simply take that value, it will copy that value to the temporary variable. Basically, like a kind of field separator we have, right? Like in data stage we have field. So if you want to take the, like value, or if you want to read the value which is presented in the before pipe delimiter, first pipe delimiter and second pipe delimiter and third pipe delimiter. So it's simply like that, like if you put copy of one and if you assign it to some temporary variable, what it will do is it will take the first value which is matching to this cap symbol, and it will take that value and it will place it into one variable whatever we want it. Okay, so so this is the standard format which you want to follow, like if you want to define any new pattern in the pattern action file. So comments you can separate with the semicolon. Here in the last line you can see the comments, always if you want to specify any kind of the comments, you have to go with the semicolon and then you need to specify it. And then, so one sample example, so this is the pattern, so the same pattern which we discussed yesterday, and the pattern action statement. So I think from starting onwards, whenever I'm discussing about whenever I'm saying about the pattern action file, it is a I'm keep on saying like pattern action file is the combination of the pattern and the corresponding pattern action statements. So the simple thing is whenever like whatever the data you are sending, so if any one of the pattern is matching to the particular input data, then the corresponding pattern action statements will get executed. In the pattern action statements, we will assign the values to the, after doing the standardization or whatever it may be, we will assign these values to the dictionary field columns. Whatever the field columns you are seeing it here, house number, redirection, street name, street type, these are usually the dictionary field columns. Sorry, dictionary file columns. So while we are discussing about the same, like about these rule sets components, we discussed about the classification file and we discussed about the dictionary file. So dictionary file is a kind of metadata for the stage generated columns. So while discussing about the pattern action file, I told you like it will, the pattern action file will, it will use the override files and reference tables, and it will do some kind of actions, and it will populate, or it will assigns the values, or it will assigns the data to this the dictionary field columns. So this is the pattern. In the pattern action statements, I am doing some kind of actions, and I'm assigning the data to the stage generated columns. So house number, pre-direction, and street name, street type, these are all like in stage generated columns, or we can say it is a dictionary field columns. So what these guys are doing is copy of one. That means the first operand. That means the value which is matching to this particular operand. They are taking that value and they're placing into the house number. But here one more difference is you are seeing this house number in a braces, right? Curly braces or whatever you're saying. So that means these are the defined variables or defined columns somewhere. That means these are the defined columns where we defined in dictionary file we defined all these columns. So whenever you are assigning any value to your dictionary file column, then you have to put into these curly braces. But if you are trying to put your value into any temporary variable, then you don't need to put these curly braces. You can directly assign, like temp, you can directly give it. But here you are seeing, right, these all these four columns, you are seeing it in a curly braces. That means these are all defined columns. So always the defined columns will be in the dictionary file. So that is the reason why they have put it as in this curly braces. But if you want to if you're trying to assign it this value to directly any kind of temporary variable, like which you are depending on like priority, whenever you need it, if you just simply trying to assign some value to this temporary variable, then you can directly give temp without any braces. Okay, so copy of one means it is simply taking the first value and they're assigning to the house number. Okay, so copy underscore A means abbreviation where A is nothing but abbreviation. What it will is the second value, whatever the value which is matching to this particular D. D is basically for directions. Okay, north, south, east, west kind of thing. For example, in your source or input string, if you are getting 123 N main street kind of thing. N stands for north, right? So what it will do, the second character, it will take N, but it will not directly place the N into this pre-direction. What it will do is it will go on, it will check in the classification file. What is the abbreviation which defined for this particular input value? Like here it is second string is N, then it will take N and it will go to the classification file. What is the abbreviation defined for that? It will take that abbreviation and it will put it here. Basically, if you are passing N, let me take an example so that you will get it clear. Um, just for example, if you are getting this type of input string, so then the pattern for this one is this one cap, because basically numerics will not be defined in the classification file, right? So you will always get cap, and D is nothing but N here, basically the directions, and main is nothing but street name, and T is nothing but street type or whatever it may be, whether it is street or drive or avenue or whatever it may be. So if you are getting this type of input string, then the pattern for this one is the pattern which you are seeing in the PDF from cap D question mark and D. So what we are doing is we are just directly copying the first value to the house number field. That is very clear. So we are just copying the first one to the house number. But the second thing what we are doing is we are just copying, but it is not a direct copy of the second value or whatever we are getting. What we are doing is we are taking the second value, that means N here, and it will go and check in the classification file, because here I am specifying the copy underscore A is nothing but abbreviation. Get the abbreviation of this particular value, and then put that value into the pre-direction. So here the value will be north. Here the value will be 1 2 3. So here you can easily understand, like see, I'm not directly copying it. I'm taking the abbreviation of the second value and then I'm copying it. So then what you will get is north. But if you remove this copy underscore, if you directly place copy of 2, then your value will be N only. Okay, so I'm just doing the abbreviation. So the abbreviation is basically like what you defined as abbreviated value in the classification file. It will take that value and it will put into here. And then see here, seeing right, copy the third operator we are taking, but without with spaces. Basically it won't it is not removing any kind of spaces. It will include the spaces and it will put the value into this street name, the street name field. Okay, so S is nothing but including spaces. It will include the spaces. It won't remove any kind of spaces. It will try to put the actual value, whatever you're getting. It will directly assign that value into the street name field. And then again for the fourth field, they are specifying it as again copy underscore A of 4. Then the abbreviated value for this street is ST in the classification file. That is a standardization version. So again, so we're pressing into the street, I guess. Then your value will be ST. Basically, street will be converted into ST, and the drives it will convert into DR, avenues it will convert into ABE, kind of thing. So there are specific standards. So all the standards you define in the classification file, because if you look at the, I think I think 2 days back or a day before yesterday, we opened the classification file. There I have seen, like, we added one customized name also into this classification file. We just taken the input string, and then we have given it the abbreviated string how we want it, and then we have given the classification code respect to that. So here, whatever, whenever I'm saying abbreviated, that is like, the second uh, column which you are specifying in the classification file. So input string, and then you are specifying the abbreviated string, and then the classification code. So the second line or the second column which you are specifying the classification file, that is nothing but the abbreviated version. So whenever you are using this one, as per the action statements which you have given it here, it will do the corresponding action, and it will assign the values to the respective columns which you defined it here. Okay, and then
Uh, Gopi, I have one
here
question. Like,
let me
is
define, like, what is copy,
hello,
what is copy underscore A, and what is copy underscore S.
hello,
We have seen what is copy and what is copy underscore A and what is copy underscore S,
hello.
and then
Hello.
concatenate. So basically,
Uh,
if you want to
I think Gopi cannot hear me.
concatenate,
Yes, 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 yes.
here in this example, in
Can
this
you ping
given
us?
example, so we are getting like this,
Ping to Gopi.
and if you want to concatenate all the four operands into one single temporary variable, let's take, then what you have to do is a copy of one.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, Sudha, tell me.
Yeah, hi, Gopi. Gopi, I have one doubt. Can you please tell me whether this language is case sensitive? Like, say, for example, will it make any difference if we'll write copy in caps or small, or say, for
No, it
example,
should be in
copy?
always caps. I think it is case sensitive. It
Okay,
won't recognize.
okay. Thank you.
Okay. Any other question?
No.
When you have any question?
Uh, Gopi, there we have written there is copy one and copy ASA.
Hmm.
So that means is it standard format? Yeah. We can give it to anything else like as a copy after the copy. There is a first one is copy one,
Hmm.
and then is a copy A, then copy underscore A underscore S underscore A.
Yeah, the meaning is, I am just saying, right? For example, if you going with the copy of one, it won't do whatever the value you are getting from your input string. It will directly put that input string into this house number.
Okay.
If you go with the copy underscore A, what it will do is it will take the input string. One more extra step is it will go to the classification file, and it will identify what is the abbreviated version of that particular input string from the classification file, and it will assign that value to the predirection. So one sample example, what I'm saying is here, for example, in your input string, if you are getting n, okay, so
Hmm.
if you specify just copy hyphen 2, like, in the braces, if you just specify 2, then it will directly keep n to the predirection value. But what I'm doing is I don't want directly place the value to the predirection. What I'm doing is copy underscore a. Whenever I specify that, What it will do is one more extra step. It will take the input string. It will not directly place into the pre-direction. One more extra step is it will go to the classification file and it will search for this particular abbreviated value what we have in the classification file for n. Then like if you go and look at the address classification file, you can see n for north. Then it will take that value and it will assign value here. It is not a direct copy of your input string. One more extra step is it will go for the classification file and it will search for the the abbreviated version, and that version you can see it here.
So we can write it anything like as a copy underscore b as per our
No, see, that is
yeah,
what I'm saying.
no.
There are few specific statements which you can follow. You cannot write your own, right? So copy underscore a is one thing, copy underscore s is one thing. There might be concatenate is one thing, like that.
How we know this specific like is from where we know that is only we need to
That is
write
what the
is
pattern action language. You should know about the pattern action language. You have to download
okay.
document and you will be aware of what are all statements we have, whatever the common functions which we can use. That is what I'm trying to explain it now. In this document I will not cover the whole thing because that is a pattern action language. It will take a lot of time. So I'm just giving you what are the major mostly used statements and functions and all those things. So once you get some idea, at least you will understand what is the pattern action file and what combinations they are using, what operators they are using, kind of thing. If you want to know the complete end to end, you have to download and you have to go to the whole document and about the pattern and language. See, the PL, what we are saying is that is a separate language. Okay, so if you want to get the complete knowledge and to end knowledge, you have to spend a lot of time to understand the whole language, and then you can start it. But for now, to start it and all those things, you don't need to know the whole end to end. If you know about the major statements or whatever we have in the pattern actual language, that will be helpful for you to start with, what is the pattern action file and all those things.
Okay.
Yeah. So how I am saying, copy underscore c. Similarly, we have the concatenate. So if you use the concatenate function, what it will do is just now we are by using the copy statements, what we are doing is we are placing the input string into four different variables or whatever it may be, four different columns. But if I want to concatenate all of them into one single what I can say variable or column or whatever it may be, then I can use the concatenate instead of copy. If I use concatenate, okay, so concatenate we have one operator and concatenate underscore a is one of the operator. So concatenated, what it will is it will simply copy or it will simply concatenate one value with the another value. And if I go with the concatenate underscore a, like how it is working copy underscore a, so abbreviation, right? So before concatenating, it will go to the classification file and it will identify the respective standardized version or abbreviated version of your input string, and it will take that value and it will append that value to your previous value. Or else let me tell you the same example. Let's consider first you copied this value to. Okay, so just now I copied the first value which I am taking and I'm putting into the temp variable now. So this time I didn't specify any braces. That means this is a temporary variable. I haven't specified anywhere. I'm just using in this particular pattern. Okay, and then instead of copy underscore a of 2, what I will do is once I do this like this, instead of copying underscore a to the some by using copy we cannot copy, right? We cannot append one value to another value. It will simply copy it. So if you have any value, it will override it. But if you want to capture, or if you want to concatenate all the variables, all the data into one single column or whatever it may be, we have to go with the concatenate. So if you're seeing it here, right, concatenate underscore a of 2 to temp. Again, temp I'm considering. Again, if I use, then my output will be in the temp, because I have concatenated the whole data into one single uh, variable or attribute, right? So then after completion of these four statements, my output will be in the temporary variable. The output will be like this. So earlier I have placed by using the copy statements, I have placed the whole data into multiple columns. Here I'm just trying to place the whole, or I'm just trying to concatenate the whole data into one temporary variable. So I can use like this copy and the concatenate combination to place the whole data into one single column. Okay. So and then retype. This is also one of the important function. So once you are done with your for any pattern action statements, like once you are done with the pattern and pattern action statements, at the end you need to reset it. So there will be a lot of temporary variables which you have defined it, and like if you see, for example, let's take we have the two pattern action statements, and we are getting one input string. So this input string is matching to both of the two patterns, but somehow, because like as I told you, in the pattern action file, they have defined a few generic patterns and pattern action statements. So if you go with the generics, there might be chance somewhere like one input string may match to more than one pattern in the pattern action file. That is because of like the patterns and pattern action statements which we have, that is generic, like starting with one particular value and ending with any, something like that they have specified inside the pattern action file. Like if you specify starting with f, so any input any pattern which is starting with f, and after that if you have any kind of classification code that will match to that particular pattern. So there are one more thing, f l or something like that. So that is because of like there might be chance one input may match to more than one pattern and pattern action statements. So in that case, so for example, let's assume we are getting one input string and it is matching to one input pattern. So the corresponding pattern action statements were executed. Then you have to break that flow, because you have already your input string is already matched to one of the pattern and the corresponding pattern action statements were already executed. So then you have to break that flow, because if you don't put any kind of retypes or kind of thing, what it will do is it will pass the same data to the next. So another pattern may match to this particular input string. Then again those corresponding pattern action statements will get executed. Then it will be like you cannot get the accurate results, and then there will be a lot of problems also. So we just need to break that flow, and then we need to take the next input string, and then we have to search for the corresponding pattern and pattern action statements in the pattern action file. So just to avoid that, like we need to use this retype. Okay, once you give the retype, then that is an indication to the engine or whatever. What it will do is it will break the flow there itself, and it will come back and it will take the next value, and it will search for the next pattern and pattern action statements. Okay, this is a kind of like break statement, um, to avoid the scenario which I just explained you, right? So just to avoid that particular thing, we have to go with the retype. Okay, so here we have two what I can say, two patterns which we have it here, and the input example you are seeing, right? One north, Ronald McDonald Lane. Just now I explained you. So there might be chance one thing which can match to more than one pattern. So this is also we can consider it as one example. So cap is matching to one, and North Ronald, everything will go to one question mark, because like sometimes if you don't specify anything, I think while discussing about the investigate stage, I explained you like the question mark and plus symbol. So if you have continuous words which the rule is not able to identify, then it will put question mark or kind of thing. So there might be chance like to match to this one like in question mark and T, and then the same thing will match to this cap and D and question mark and T or whatever it may be. Then like your input string, like for example in the order, first you specify this one and then you specify this one. Then see in the pattern action file, the fundamental rule is it will execute from top to bottom. So it won't skip from here and there and all those things. So it will start from the starting position from left hand to right side, top to bottom, it will try to execute it. So in that fashion, for example, if you are getting this one, this particular pattern action statements, uh, and then the input string will match to this particular action statements, and these statements will get executed. But for example, let's assume you specify this particular pattern action statements before to this first one, and then your input string will match to this particular pattern, and the corresponding pattern action statements will get executed. But like that is again depends upon how you define the pattern action statements and all those things. Okay. So just now I told you like the pattern action file execution will be top to bottom and left to right, right. There will be a few exclusions, so we can use the routines, and by using the routines we can skip the flow from one position to another position, and we can execute those statements there and we can come back it here. So that we will see later in the same file, that option is also there. I will explain there like how we can skip, or if you want to skip the flow like top to bottom, you can put some kind of routines kind of thing. So whenever you need, you can simply call that routine. So what it will do, the flow, the control will jump from here, and it will go to that particular routine, and it will execute those statements there, and it will come back and it will continue the flow. So there are few restrictions, like if you want, you can skip the control, like instead of executing the top to bottom, if you want, you can skip the control and you can go to somewhere and you can execute those statements and you can come back it. So for that we need to use the routines and all those things that I will let you know once we like in next couple of minutes. Okay. And then here the same example, just now we have explained, right, copy and concatenate of example. So if you if you directly copy the concat of two, it won't do an extra step like going through the like classification file and getting the updated version kind of thing. So you are simply copying, so the first value which is we are getting, so we are copying into the 10. Just forget about the star, we will discuss about the star later. Star is nothing but a universal match, we can say. So if you are getting this particular value, and rest all, that doesn't matter what a value you are getting it, so it will simply match to this particular pattern. So just now I'm saying, right, there are few generic patterns and pattern action statements will be there in the pattern action file. This is one of the generic, so star will match to anything, and after that you're seeing, you're just looking for this particular pattern. So in this case, there might be few there in your input data, there might be few things which is always matching to this one, because this is a generic. Star we are saying universal match, we are just looking for this one. Apart from this one, if you are getting anything that will simply match to this particular pattern. And so that is a that is why I told you, like the generic patterns and pattern action statements we have. So because of that, there will be chance to map, like to find out and match more than one in your pattern action file for your input string. Okay. So if you are simply getting this one, then what they are doing is they're copying first of the first character or the first operand which you are getting, they're copying to the 10, and then the same concatenate statements 2, 3, 4, 5, and so what they are doing is they are simply concatenating the whole input string into one single temporary variable, and they're simply copying this temporary variable too. So whenever you are seeing these braces, then this is again your dictionary field column. So they're simply putting that column, that data into your dictionary file column. Okay, so here we are seeing that end of field separator and floating position specifier star. So end of the wherever you are seeing. So this is one pattern, cap, question mark, and T, and the dollar is nothing but end of field specifier. So what it will do is it will try to find out an exact match kind of thing. For example, if you compare these examples with this pattern, you can get clear picture. Here they have given what would match, what would not match to this particular what I can say, the pattern. So the question mark, the cap symbol, whenever you're saying, that is a kind of numeric value, and the question mark is nothing but unrecognized word or token or whatever it may be, and T is nothing but row. And after that, we are ending with the dollar. That means you are trying to look for the specific pattern, question mark and a cap, question mark and T, wherever your input string is matching to exact match, a kind of exact match to this particular pattern, then only you're trying to match it. Otherwise, you're not matching it. So if you want to look for an exact match or whatever it may be to the pattern, then you can specify cap, question mark and T. And then if you specify this end of this delimiter, or what I can say, end of specifier for the pattern, then 123 main board, it will match to this exact match to this particular pattern. So that is the reason why, so it will match to this particular pattern. But after 123 main board, if you are getting anything else, then that is not an exact match, because after TP specified, it is the end of specifier. So that is the reason why you are saying this what I can say, these two, the other two values which you are getting, those will not get matched to this particular thing. But here the exact opposite version of that particular thing here. So if you put star, and then if you are searching for this particular cap and question mark and T, so the only thing it will do is, in the whole string, whether you are getting cap, question mark and T or not, that's it will do. So where you are getting, how you are getting, and all those things, continuous things, you need to get it, question mark and cap symbol and question mark and T. And apart from that, before and after, whatever you're getting, that doesn't matter. So because we have specified it as a universal mapper or whatever it may be, we will call it as a universal mapper. So what it will do is, it will just look for this particular pattern, cap, question mark and T kind of thing. So whenever it is able to find that, then it will consider that particular pattern is a match to this particular input string. So whatever we are getting before and after, that doesn't matter to this one, because we specified it as a star. Star is nothing but anything. So it will simply match to this one, and the corresponding pattern action statements will get executed in this example. The question, whenever you specify star, it will a kind of universal mapper. So whatever you are getting apart from this particular pattern, it will match. But dollar is a kind of specifier. If you want to look for only for this particular thing, and if you don't want to do anything, if you don't want to match any other input string which is coming here, then you will go with this one. Okay. So till here, if you guys have any queries, and ask me. Otherwise, going forward, if you keep on discussing, and if you have any queries, then that will be a problem.
Uh, Gopi,
Yeah.
for floating position specifier, so in the first home address, how they will skip the home address and they will go to the directly as one to how they find means how they will work.
Mm, I didn't get that. Where you are talking about the second thing, second example.
Yeah, in second example is the first is home address is 123. There is
Mhm.
home address. It was skip and is a 123 main and road. It
Yeah.
was getting this.
Yeah. Star we
So
are
how means
specifying now. Star we are specifying, right? It won't look for specific thing in the whole input string. First of all, it will just check whether you're getting any cap, any question mark symbol, any T. That's it. It won't consider about the home address, and here we have APT3, or here we have again APT3, right? That doesn't matter. In the whole string, it will just check whether we are getting this particular um, token, or what I can say, pattern is coming or not. That's it. It doesn't matter what you are getting apart from this uh, the things like the pattern, whatever the expected pattern we have given it here. That doesn't matter. It will simply check the cap and the question mark until we have it right, whether this combination is presented or not. Rest all it will match to the star.
So for T, T is a road is a T
Yeah,
for this, and for Kushima it will be man.
yeah.
Uh, if uh, if this address will be like is a home address man 123 road, so what will be
Can I
in
come
that
again?
case?
Can I come again?
Home
Mm-hmm.
address
Mm-hmm.
man
Mm-hmm.
123 road. So what will be there in that case? So it will be skip the home address and how they will means
But at the
they
end
can
again,
identify or not.
yeah, but at the again we have 123 main road, right?
No, is the 123 in between the man and road?
In between main, you have 123.
Can can you copy paste on the notepad so you will get a
Yeah,
copy the whole string? है ना?
no problem. Tell me, I will type it. Home address you want it.
Is home address
Okay,
uh, man
okay.
123
Mm-hmm.
road.
Mm-hmm.
So how they will compare to that is floating
Yeah, but the
position
thing is
specific.
again, you are changing the. See, it will not at all match to this one because there's in sequence. They are checking cap question mark and T, right? So 123 main road they are expecting, but if in your this thing it is a different thing, right? So question mark and again this one will match to cap and this one is T. So the pattern which they are looking for, cap question mark and T, that doesn't so that didn't find in this particular input string, right? So in that case it won't match to this one.
So for start it will be skip the home address. For the question marks for it will come anything else in question mark anyone string. It will be the string or it will be the
Mm-hmm.
number. Correct?
Yeah, right.
So in that case home address man it will be the skip and then is 1 2 3 4 there's a question marks and TV is a for road. It will not work.
123 C. Always numerics will match to the cap symbol. It won't match to any other thing because that is unclassified. So always it will assign cap symbol for the numerics. Then your pattern will be like cap T. So and the cap symbol you are not getting like the question mark symbol in between you, it is not able to identify it, right? Then it will not
Gopi,
match.
might be if we'll add something between 1 2 3 road, then it will match,
Yeah,
right?
it
Say
will
for
match.
example 1 2 3 network.
Yeah, then it will match because the
Yeah,
whole
that's
thing it is just checking the pattern whether this particular pattern is, see, always the pattern is it will not skip here and there, right? For example, 123 main street cap question mark T we are saying. So in the flow, the sequence of tokens it is trying to identify in our input string. So in this string, what you are doing is in between something is missing. It will not at all match to this cap question mark and T. So that is the reason why it won't match to this particular pattern. But if you added something else like xyz or whatever it may be, then again the cap symbol is there and again question mark is there and again T is there. So the whole thing it will convert into the star, and then it will try to map the input string into this particular pattern. The corresponding pattern action statements will get executed.
okay. So in that case, man also will be skipped.
Yeah, main also, see, main is nothing but unrecognized word, whatever it may be, that doesn't matter. So here
Okay.
CYXXX and the main is anyhow the undefined word. So the whole thing it will map to the star and then it will work. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
No.
Okay. Uh, yeah. So here one more. I think this is very rarely you will use it, but like whatever we discussed till now, like before this slide, those are all like the most common and most important things. So in most of the times you can see in our actual pattern action files and all those things. So here one thing is, let's say, let's forget about this hash symbol for now. Just check S and cap symbol, and just trying to analyze this particular example. CA45 products and Phoenix IAZ or whatever it may be, they are giving it, right? So just forget about this hash symbol and then try it. S and pipe symbol and question mark. S is nothing but state, and cap is nothing but the numeric characters or numeric digits or whatever it may be. So if you don't specify hash and if you're just trying to S and pipe symbol A, so what it is doing, you would look starting from the right to the find the first. So that means if you forget about the hash symbol, then it will be left to right. But if you add hash, then right to left, it will search. So the thing is, let's assume you have this particular pattern, and this is your input data: CJ45 products, QNX, AZ1, 2, 3, DEPT, 4, 5. And like if you don't specify hash symbol, then what it will do is from the left hand side to right hand side, it will try to identify S and cap symbol and state following with the numeric digits or whatever it may be. Then in that case, what they are saying is your input will be, your output will be, or your match string will be CA45. If you don't specify hash symbol, left hand side to right hand side, so CA45 will match to this particular string. Don't consider the whole thing is matching to this one or not. They are just in the whole string, they are just searching, or they're just trying to identify whether we have S and cap combination is there or not. So if you don't specify hash from left hand side to right hand side, then CA45 will be your match string. But if you specify hash symbol from right hand side to left hand side, it will try to identify whether this particular state and following with numeric value, are we getting it or not. So in that case, your AZ12345 will be your output. So it's just a kind of flow controller, whether you want from left hand side to right hand side, or if you want from right hand side to left hand side. So if you don't specify hash symbol, if you specify this one in any one of the parameters or any one of the statements or logic, so what it will do is from left hand side to, it will try to identify whether the state and this cap symbol combination is coming or not. But if you specify this one, what they're saying is from right hand side to left hand side, it will try to identify it. And here, so for example, you are getting the whole input string, and if you want to get only the particular like uh, string or value, like 123 value or road or whatever it may be. So if you want to identify the location, what value you are getting in the first location, or what value you are getting in the second location, or what value you are getting in the third location, and what value you are getting from the right hand side to left hand side. So that is what if you go with this type of characters, whenever you specify, it will try to identify what is the character or the word or the token which is presented in this position or whatever. So percentage one 3, and if you want to take it from the right hand side also, you can specify it is -1. I think we have the substring option also in data stage. So if you want to consider from one position to another position, you can take the you can specify the starting and ending positions, right? In the similar fashion, here we have it. And also, if you want to consider it from the right hand side, again, always you should go with the minus options. So -1, -2, or in the substring option also, here we have in the quality stage, if we specify minuses, then from the right hand side to left hand side, it will try to identify it. So just to change the direction. Okay. So these are the few things which we have. And here, subfield, just now we discussed about it, subfield, like 1 to 9 or -1 to -9, how it will work. So what it will do is, for example, you have this string like Johnson control car. The whole string, it will maps to question mark and a pipe symbol with C, because C is nothing but a car, I think as per our classification file. and whatever the other string which we have it here, Johnson controls, it will map to this question mark. Okay, so for example, if it is 1C, then Johnson is operand 1 and the corp is operand 2. Uh, One moment. Purchase individual words. Okay. Okay. So what they are doing is, for example, if you are passing this one, the whole string, and so the whole string is matching to the question mark and pipe symbol and C, right? So what they are saying is, if you specify, pattern and in braces, if you specify one and two, so the whole concept is like in the question mark values. Here the question mark values are Johnson and controls. Anyhow, carp is matching to C. So whatever is matching to the question mark, so they are trying to what I can say, like if you apply one pipe symbol and C, then what it will do is whatever the characters are which are matching, or whatever the tokens which are matching to the question mark, out of that they will take the first token, and for C they will consider anyhow the carp is matching to the C. Out of Jansen and controls, which one you want to consider it, like if you put one and the pipe symbol and with C, then Johnson is will I will consider as a operand one, or like token one, and then C is considered like the for car. But if you give it as minus one and followed with pipe symbol and C, then what it will is whatever is matching to the question mark, with that, from right hand side it will take the first token, and it will assign to the this minus one, and then it will the C it will consider it as a call. So basically what they are trying to is, for example, if your string is matching to this one, like this type of pattern, and in the pattern action statements, if you try to use this type of so sorry, if your input string is matching to this particular pattern, like in question mark and pipe symbol with C, and if you specify in the pattern action statements like this, then your output will be like this. So earlier, the pattern action statements we have seen, right? Copy of A, concatenate, and all this. And those are the pattern action statements. Similarly, in the whenever your input string is matching to this particular pattern, if you're trying to use this particular type of pattern action statements inside that particular pattern, then your data will be like this. And then you can put this data into any one of the variable if you want, or you can concatenate with another variable and all those things. You can do that. And here the substring which we have seen here, like if you are getting this particular input string 123 hyphen ab main street, and the respective pattern for this one is here question cap symbol and hyphen and question mark and t, and then if you want to take a substring of this question mark or whatever it may be, then here you can come here, if you specify like this cap hyphen 1 in the pattern itself, I am saying in the pattern itself, it is specified like this. So this one will match to the cap, and this one will match to the what I can say hyphen, and this one you are taking the substring 1 colon 2, and then you are matching to the t. Okay, so this one what will happen is out of this AB main state, here the question mark is matching to AB main, right? So then you will get only AB, because you are taking a substring of like the third operand. So that will come 1 colon 2 whenever you specify starting from 1 and 2 positions you are taking. So 1, you will get A, B here. And then if you want, you can equals to this one to this particular thing, like if you specify here 1 and 2 equals to B, so 1 and 2 equals to AB. If you want, you can put a condition here, like starting from 1 and you are taking 2 positions, right? So if it is equals to AB, then you can specify a condition here itself. So then what will happen is whatever is coming in, and the question mark which is matching to this question mark, and you're specifying 1 colon 2 equals to AB, right? Then it will match only the input strings which contains the first character and second character is equals to AB. Then only that particular thing will get matched. So what I'm trying to do is one moment. If you want, you can specify like this also. What will happen is instead of if we don't specify anything, so they will simply match this particular pattern and it will take the first two digits and then it will match to this T. Then everything will get matched here. But if you specify, whenever you specify 1 colon 2 is equals to some condition, whenever you specify, so the only strings which contains the first and second character is equals to AB, only those particular strings will get matched here. If you want, you can specify in this particular format also in your pattern, and the corresponding pattern action statements you can do that. Okay, so that also you can do that. And if you don't want that particular type of condition, you can simply specify like this. Then what will happen is the corresponding uh, pattern and pattern action statements will get executed. So we are not specifying any condition whether we always need the first and second character in the unhandled token is always AB kind of thing. Okay, so here if you want, you can from the right hand side to left hand side also, if you want, you can try it. So what you can, instead of specifying 1 and 2, if you specify the negative values, then from the right hand side, from the last in the unhandled token, from the right hand side to left hand side, it will try to identify the characters and it will give it here in the operand. Okay, yeah, so we have few more things. What I can say is universal class. So here just now we have seen one star symbol. That is that doesn't matter. It will, whatever the pattern you are giving, it will just check that particular pattern is presenting or not in your input file. So here this one is star star. This is match all tokens. It is saying, so it is a kind of universal match. So if you specify like this star star and pipe symbol with the T, then what will happen is it match any pattern that ended with the T class. So that means it don't check for a particular pattern. See, let me look at this one. Yeah, for this one we specified like this, right? Star and cap. So star. So this is the pattern which we specified. So then in this case, what it will do is it star will match to anything, but it will always looking for this particular pattern is presented or not in our input string, right? So that is the restriction here. But if you go with this like this, then what it will do is it is ending with T or not. It will only check that. It won't check this particular the whole pattern cap question mark kind of thing whether it is presented or not. It will only check whether it is ending with slash T or not. So if you want this particular earlier you said like this, right? If it is matching to this particular pattern or not. So this input string won't match to this particular pattern. But if you specify this one, it will match because ending with T. But prior to that, whatever you have, that doesn't matter. It won't check a specific pattern or whatever it may be. It will simply check your the whole string is ending with the T or not. That's it. The everything else it will map to the star star. Okay. So, and here if you want not starting with here it is ending with T. If you want in a reverse case, you can go with this one. Would match any pattern that did not end with the T class. That means street or avenues or whatever you're getting, right. If you were any of your inputs that doesn't ending with any T type of classification codes, then your whole code or your whole pattern will match to this one, and then corresponding pattern action statements, whatever we specified here, those pattern action statements will get executed. Okay, and then so here we have few more things. We will discuss about these few things tomorrow. There will be around 2 to 3 pages, or at max 4 pages we have. So the basic functions which we need to use, and we will discuss about them tomorrow.